Hi everybody, I am Michelle and thanks for coming by. I have an update for you. Before I get going, I just want to let you know that this is not medical advice of any kind and it's not meant to be medical advice. So if you feel like you have anything going on, I would highly encourage you to visit your medical professional. I have stage 4 colon cancer and I've been in and out of treatment now for since November of 2017, and I've been stage 4 since 2019. Currently, I have inoperable cancer in what's called the omentum, which is a protective layer around your major organs. I have several larger tumors, not too big, about yay big, maybe the size of a dime to the size of a quarter. And I am currently undergoing treatment using Avastin plus FOLFIRI. And that's FOLFIRI is the chemotherapy that I'm undergoing right now. And we suspended it for a while because my numbers, when I went in for a regular checkup, I got a PET scan that did not make it appear to be working. And then I had a CEA test, which also had gone from, when I started chemotherapy, it was around 8.6. It had gone up to 17.4 and then 18.9 just a week later. So that's where we were the last time that I made a video a couple of weeks ago. I would like to thank everybody who listens to the podcast, who watches my videos, and the comments that come in are so very kind and humbling. I can't tell you how much it really helps to keep my spirit going. Okay, I'm going to update you a little bit, but this video is going to have some other updates on things that we've been doing for the past few weeks in an effort to live life to the very fullest. So, if you remember, on May 21st, we had a good clear PET scan. However, my blood sugar was high, and the radiologist didn't want to do a reading and then risk part of the reading being in error because of the blood sugar being high. So we made an appointment to go back about a week and a half later and get another PET scan. And when I went in, well, I should back it up. When I left the house, my blood sugar was hovering around 200, but it was under 200. And when I got to the imaging center, it had gone up over 200, and the 200 is the cutoff. And as I sat there with the technicians, it just continued to go up and up and up until it hit about 230. So they said, okay, let's make another appointment. And so I went home. I started taking I took more metformin, which is a drug to control my blood sugar because I have type 2 diabetes, in addition to the stage 4 cancer. So when I went in, it was really the third time, but the second makeup visit, if you will, again, my blood sugar was fine at home. I went out for a walk. I drank lots of water. By all indications, it should have been fine. But once again, when I got there, it had gone up over 200. And then I start getting nervous. That can make things go up higher, and it did. So what I ended up doing at that point was I knew on that day that I had an appointment with my endocrinologist. So I said, look, let's make another appointment. I'm going to see my endocrinologist today, and we'll get this under control. So they made an appointment for me just a few days later on a Friday. I saw the endocrinologist. He prescribed a secondary drug called glipizide, which is apparently somewhat common for people who have diabetes. And he said, I don't want you to be taking this all the time. What I want you to do is go ahead and take this the night before you go in, and it will lower your blood sugar to a level that won't won't be able to rise above that. So that is exactly what I did, and I went in, and sure enough, we got a good reading. And my blood sugar was well below the threshold, and it was also within about 5 or 6 points of the PET scan that I had done as I was beginning the chemotherapy. So in comparison of the two PET scans, it was apples to apples, which is good because they want to look at the same image as, close as they can. So the outcome of that is that my bigger tumors had shrunk. There are no smaller dots on my omentum, so there are no new images of any new cancer. It hasn't spread anywhere, and all of this is really super good news. And on top of all of that, my doctor said, let's just go ahead and get a CEA for grins and giggles. We'll see what happens. And so I got another CEA, and that's just a blood draw. And on that test, my blood CEA count had gone down 4 full points to 14.9. That's not optimum. You really want to be under 5 points, but it had gone down 4 whole points and it didn't go up. So that aligned with the final PET scan to make my doctor confident that we are stable as far as the cancer goes. So my husband and I went on a family reunion in Montana. It was so beautiful. And then when we came back, I had a doctor appointment, and that was just a couple of days ago. And so we met with my oncologist, and his suggestion is, and we agreed with him to move this in this direction. His suggestion was, since the chemotherapy treatment did shrink some of the tumors and didn't allow more incidents to pop up, let's go ahead and finish this round. It's supposed to be 12 rounds, so I've already done 9. So now I'll be doing 3 more rounds, and that will finalize my chemotherapy. And hopefully that will bring it down even more and shrink the tumors a little bit more and arrest, any more development, maybe even get rid of some of the small ones. That would be wonderful in my opinion. We will get a PET scan in about 2 months. He doesn't want to have me too radiated, so he doesn't like to really go within 2 months if possible, or 3 months if we can avoid it. So I'm going to finish the next 3 rounds will be it. I start on the 29th of July, which is a Tuesday. So I'll be back sort of on my normal schedule for that. I'll go in and I'll be there for like 5 hours. I'll come home with 5FU still connected to me, and then I'll get it disconnected 2 days later. And I'll do that 3 times. And then when we're done with that, then I'll start Avastin only as a maintenance drug. It's a biologic, and so it's designed to just keep the cancer at bay. It's not like chemotherapy where it wipes you completely out. So that's where we are, and I'm very pleased that we can finish the chemo as prescribed. I'm bracing myself, to not feel super good, but it's only 6 weeks. And 6 weeks is nothing. We have already come through an awful lot. So I can do this. So on June 27th, that's when I had my second successful PET scan. And then I got all of the information from my doctor this past Thursday. So I'm, again, overall very, very pleased. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do for treatment. I've got to have some notes on this today. So vacation. We drove to western Montana from northern California. We live roughly right in the middle between San Francisco and Lake Tahoe, California, or Reno, Nevada. So we drove straight through. My husband drove the whole way. 14 hours. This trip was 14 hours. And it was a beautiful drive after we got out of Nevada. I don't know if anybody has driven across Nevada before on Interstate 80, but it just feels like the same scenery over and over and over. It's sagebrush, mountains, but everything's kind of brown pretty much year round. And I have done that trip so many times as a passenger and a driver, and I also drove semi-cross country. So I would say I've probably driven across Nevada a minimum of 200 times. So it's just like looking at the same thing over and over. No knock against it. It just, when it's not your destination, it takes a long time. You know what I mean? That you probably feel that way too. So again, it was a beautiful drive, and we went through the lower part of Idaho as well, and that was pretty. And then we started seeing the Rockies, different mountain ranges that are part of the Rockies, as we got closer and closer to Montana. And oh my goodness, let me tell you how beautiful it was. Just stunning. Now, the trip, I want to tell you something about why we drove straight through. I cannot eat anything and then go somewhere right now with any certainty that I won't have to use the restroom very quickly without warning sometimes. And so driving straight through allows us to get to where we're going so that I can eat. And JJ, God bless him, on our way there, didn't have a bite in solidarity with me. We just drank coffee and water the whole way. And then when we got there, I had some chicken strips, and they were delightful. It was the only restaurant open when we got to the cabin, and it was just wonderful. So we were right by where they film Yellowstone, and we love Yellowstone. We were at a really neat campground called Lost Horse Lodge. I'm going to give them a shout out because their cabins are absolutely wonderful. They treat pets like their own family if you travel with pets. And the cabin was absolutely wonderful. I loved every minute of our time there, not only with family, but just with the surroundings and the cabin and everything. And so I just wanted to mention, that we just truly enjoyed getting together with family, catching up. Family comes from all over the country. In fact, one of JJ's cousins and her husband traveled from Britain to be here. So that was the furthest people away. And then her brother actually came from Southern California, him and his wife. So we have people from all over the world, all over the country, and getting together every 2 years is just a complete joy. So a couple of notable things that were super cool. I got to ride in a Razor for the first time, and it's kind of like a sort of like a four-wheeler, but it had 4 seats, and you buckle all in and everything, but it's like a quad, but for more people than one. So it was so much fun. So I got to ride in it, and the next day I got to drive it on federal forestry land, and it was so much fun, and it was so pretty. So I'm going to give a shout out on that one. It was a blast. And then I won the horseshoe tournament again. And hold on, I'm going to go get the trophy so you can see it. How cute is that? That's Big Red. So this is the 5th one in a row that my partner and I have won the 5th horseshoe tournament with the family. And so Brian, good job, partner. And then JJ on the way there promised me, he said, I'm going to fight like crazy to at least be in 2nd place so that no matter what, we come home with the trophy. So we did. Isn't it adorable? They had it fabricated like 15 years ago. Oh, one of my lights went off. Like 15 years ago, they had these fabricated. So it's really fun because I've had this one or a blue one that looks just like it over the past 10 years. So it was really cool. And I'm the first female in the family to have won that many in a row. So I'm super stoked. It was a blast. And we always have fun playing horseshoes there. The drive home was not so much fun because I needed something to eat, and I had literally like 5 little Pringles. I needed something like a saltine. And in the middle of nowhere, with no warning whatsoever, like an hour and a half after I had these, it came on. And there was nowhere to stop. Nowhere. So I did some deep breathing exercises, did some mindfulness, and we made it to a visitor center for a national monument. And I was able to use their facilities and learn a little bit about where we were. So that was pretty cool. So that was a little bit of a detour there. And then later I was still hungry. I didn't want an upset stomach. So I had another itty bitty snack. And if you've ever driven in southern Idaho and across Nevada, there aren't like rest areas everywhere. There's not a lot of places to stop. So now we're in Nevada, and the same situation happens almost immediately after putting something in my mouth. But again, I avoided any kind of embarrassment or touchy situations. So what decision did that make us come to? What conclusion did that make us come to? If and when we travel by car anymore, we will stop every 7 or 8 hours, and that will be the end of the travel for the day. And if it takes 3 days, it takes 3 days. I can't go without eating for 24 hours. That's silly. It doesn't help anything. And I suppose I could try taking an Imodium, but I don't want to take a chance of getting constipated either. And it can happen that easily. So it's just a delicate dance. It's a little balance. We returned home on the 14th, late in the evening. Saw the oncologist on the 17th, and I've already told you I'm going to finish those last 3. So the last thing I want to tell you about is some grace here. And while we were gone, my brother took care of doing the mail and everything, and my niece brought her son and daughter over, and they went swimming. And when I left, the inside of the kitchen sink had a few dishes in it. And I thought, oh, I'll just get them when I get home, because I didn't have time to unload the dishwasher and load it back up. Well, I get home and my entire kitchen is beautifully clean and everything's put away. So shout out to my niece for that. That was her thank you for letting them come over and swim. But I appreciated them just coming over. Another thing that happened while we were gone is that my sweet neighbors who were watering the lawn, of course, when it was in the hundreds, it was very hot. They were keeping our garden going, and they did a great job. And they were watering the front of the house. We've got all kinds of fruit trees, and it was really important that they were watered when the temperatures were over 100 degrees during the day. We got home, and we have recently poured some cement in a big walkway so that it's accessible for me to walk around the property when I do my gardening, and I have to drag like a green waste can. And also the ground is steady because I have neuropathy, I have peripheral neuropathy in my feet, and it's getting worse. So my husband felt safer having this walkway poured so that I could get around easier without having tripping hazards. So we hadn't weeded everything for quite a while because it's been really hot around the roses and the rosemary and other flowers that we've planted along the walkway. When we got home, and we're talking about 40 feet by about 3 feet, when we got home, all of it was weeded, every last bit. And I was crying. I don't even know how to accept. That is a gift of time. That is a gift of love. And I just, I've talked in other videos about being, giving grace and being able to accept help, being able to ask for help when you need it. I didn't ask for this, but she knew that it bothered me that when people drove up, they saw these weeds. And some of them were getting up to be about 3 feet tall. They just shot up. So this was not a small feat. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know who you are. Ethel, I call her Ethel because I'm her Lucy and she's my Ethel. And so two really neat things happened while we were gone that when I got home, I didn't expect, and they just made me feel that much better. And then today, my girlfriend came over that I've known for a long time, and we got to catch up. So I got that time with her to just chit chat, talk about, what's going on in the world and everything else. And so that was really sweet. Then I had my niece and her kids came over and swam, so we had a good time there. And after they left, our neighbors came over from across the street and they brought me the most beautiful orchid. Look at this gorgeous orchid. Oh my goodness. I hope I keep it as beautiful as it is. I have to find a really nice place for this. I think I'm going to put it in my living room, actually on the coffee table, because it gets light in there. So, and when they came over, they were just telling us how strong they think I am, and I don't even know what to say, but I do want to give hope to people who are going through these things that when you least expect it, people are just going to come in and tell you how much you mean to them. And I'm telling you, when my neighbors were telling me, how much they appreciate being our neighbors and how, strong I am and you look really good and everything, I almost just burst out in tears right then and there, because it's just the sweetest thing. It's hard to hear compliments. I've never been one to hear compliments. I don't like it when people sing happy birthday to me and they're staring at me and I'm the center of attention as I sit here on a video, right? But I'm talking to a camera that will transmit to you, and it's just easier. But I do want to thank everybody who came together in my community to make my homecoming from vacation so wonderful and delightful, and I just feel so special, and it's hard to allow myself to do that. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, whether you're going through something like this or not. Let others do for you, because it actually does feel good. And I'm going to go back to a video I did over a year and a half ago, and that is, and this is what I tell myself, as hard as it is to accept gifts or acts of kindness, think about how good it makes you feel to give a gift, whether it be a gift of time, a gift like a flower, or just kind words and kind deeds. Think about how good it makes you feel to give to others, and that makes it easier to accept all of that from other people. So I will be starting my chemo again in about 10 days. I'm not excited about it, but I am ready to get on with it and be finished, because the sooner I start, the sooner we'll be finished. We have some work being done on our house this week, and that's why I put it off for one more week. And thank you to the doctor who allowed me to get that done without having people in and out of my house while I'm connected to a ball of chemotherapy. That's about all I have for you today. I will come back on either this coming week or maybe right after I start back up on the chemo. My stomach's been really upset, and I think that's part of that is coming off of the chemo and being off of it for a few weeks, and my body is readjusting. So on that note, I'm actually going to go make myself some dinner. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much again for all of your super kind comments. I will be responding to those now that I'm back where I have a signal. And if I can find some photos, maybe I'll just do a fun video with overlays and everything so that you can see how beautiful the country was where we were when we were on our trip. Thanks a lot for stopping by Big Valley Living. More importantly, please share this with anybody you think that this will help to either bring up their spirits or let them know that they're not alone in their cancer fight. Again, I have colon cancer, stage 4 colon cancer, And this is not medical advice. I am just letting you know what's working for me in my life. If you feel like you need to have like a colonoscopy, or you're having any kind of bowel issues and they've been going for a while, if the shape, color, or consistency or frequency of your stools has changed and hasn't gone away, go see your doctor. Please go see your medical team. The longer you put something like that off, the worse it will get. I am here to tell you that. So please don't do that to yourself. See your medical professional as soon as you think something may be wrong. I'll see you later, everybody. Be kind.